What up, y'all? This is James Hancock. I am just checking my sound. Yes, I am recording. Fuck yeah. I've been gone a couple days. I've been down in North Carolina with my family at the beach, and I've been dying to play some Dark Souls. I apologize if you hear any noise in the background. That is my AC going. New York is in the middle of a heat wave, and I left my AC off for a couple days while I was out of town just to save me some moolah. And I got back in my apartment was 95 degrees. So anyway, the AC is blasting. I just spoke to that guy just because I had forgotten to speak to him after I rang the second bell of awakening, and now we're going to meet one of the weirdest creatures in all of Dark Souls. I don't know why the game designers got so strange with this really, really important NPC, but I love him. I think his voice sounds weird. It's cool. He's a figure of major lore. There's nothing else like him anywhere in Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. And here he is giving me some lore. I'm just going to let this play out. But yeah, he was pals with Gwen. That's pretty huge. And basically he's just letting me know that I've got a major mission ahead of me. I have to invade a place called Sen's Fortress. And Sen's Fortress gives me access to Iron Golem, which will allow me to grab like some bowl of some kind, which I'll bring back, and that'll open up the door to Gwen after I fed it these massive souls of these horrible, horrible bad guys. If you watch the opening cinematic of the game when you first generate your character, I'm terrible at Dark Souls lore. I love it, but I have a hard time retaining that knowledge. But if you watch the opening cinematic, you'll see Gwen and all these bosses teaming up to fight all these dragons, and it's a fucking gorgeous cinematic, even 5 years after it was originally released. And you see like him hurling lightning bolts, and you just get to see some of the bosses you're going to kill in action in a really, really cool cinematic. So I highly recommend it. What's cool about this guy is you can feed him items and get souls. It's pretty time consuming. I don't really recommend it except for a few key items. Like if you're not going to use a boss soul to make a weapon, he's a good person to feed the souls to. You can also change your mats into other mats by feeding them to him. So he's a pretty incredible resource. But after we get the Lord Vessel, we will come back, and he will give us access to the next part of the game. But now we are on our way to Sen's Fortress. Sen's Fortress is no joke. This is where the game really begins in earnest. I'm just rearranging some spells. I don't want to have... I won't need Remedy while I'm in here, so I just want to be able to blast folks. But Sen's Fortress is basically just... it's like one of those old-school AD&D first edition modules like Tomb of Horrors from like the late 70s and early 80s, where it's just traps and hellaciousness and things designed to kill you. Like if Blighttown just kills you with poison and misery, Sen's Fortress kills you with trickery. But I infinitely prefer Sen's Fortress because I like castles. I love exploring castles, and Sen's Fortress is by far one of my favorite parts of the game. I'm just buying a quick Titanite shard to upgrade my dagger to +5. I will not be going to +6. The way weapon upgrades work in Dark Souls is you have certain paths you take, and at +5, if you're planning on going a different path, like I'm going to go magic with this dagger, then I need to start now using green Titanite shards to upgrade further, which I will be doing later in this video. This video is actually composed of two different videos. When I got back, I was so fired up to play, I decided to do one big, huge, long one, because if you haven't played video games in 3 days and you're addicted to video games, that's a long time with no video games. Alright, so as you can see there, the Onion Knight is gone. That is a giant trap on the floor, which I'm walking around because I'm going to use that trap to kill these fuckers. These ads are, or mobs, whatever you want to call them, are a lot of fun to fight. They can do like a giant like cobra bite, but they also just like to hack and slash. They're pretty hard to parry, and also it's kind of scary because if you miss, they fuck you up. So I wouldn't recommend a whole lot of parrying. However, they're super easy to backstab. So if you get into a tight room and you circle around them, backstabbing these guys is easy as hell. My problem is my dagger is just a joke and does no damage because at this point in the game, I've been putting so many points into my intelligence, that's the only thing that's going to scale with any damage. So the only way I can get my dagger to start doing any damage is to make it magic. So I'm going to take it there very soon. This is me taking off my rusted iron ring because I'm an idiot and forgot that I was wearing the wrong ring. Although I'll probably put it back on in like 5 minutes once I drop down here. So you can see this layout. There's a giant like metal demon dude in the bottom I want to kill, so I'm just going to drop down here and heal up and take him on. You've seen one of these guys before, the guys with like missing half a leg who can hurl lightning or hit you melee, and I do a pretty poor job of fighting this initial one. The reason I do is because I'm not wearing my rusted iron ring like I should be, and I'm a little actually, or am I? I can't tell. I'm moving kind of quickly, but there are a bunch of guys who shoot lightning who are behind me, and if I get too close to them, I start getting shot from a distance from behind them. But luckily, this guy, he just fucks up, he backs up, and he gets confused. So I just said, screw it. While he's being stupid and his computer is trying to figure out how to act, I just nuke his face. Anyway, there are 4 of these guys down here total. You get Demon Titanites. Demon Titanites are awesome for upgrading. See, there he goes. Those are the guys I was trying to avoid. Demon Titanites are great for upgrading boss weapons. I've never really used boss weapons in Dark Souls. I don't really like the move sets. They're a pain in the butt to upgrade. Like, there are none of them that seem grotesquely overpowered. Probably because at one point, back when this was like current content, there were some that were overpowered, and they came in and nerfed them. So I tend to just like upgrading the regular weapons. I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to put enough points into my dex and strength to go Great Scythe. The Great Scythe, as you can tell, I went through a secret wall. That secret wall is forgotten by a lot of people, but it takes me up to the guy who originally opened the gate to Sen's Fortress, and if I kill him, I get a Titanite chunk. But back to weapons. Dagger's kind of a joke weapon, although it is good for backstabs. But there's a weapon in Dark Souls that's just unequaled in any of the 3 Dark Souls games. That's the Great Scythe. The Great Scythe is just death. Like, if you watch any YouTube videos of the top 10 like Dark Souls weapons, every single one of them will say Great Scythe, just because it has this incredible horizontal attack, it has this incredible vertical attack. It's wide, it's vicious, it does shitloads of damage. It does scale dex, so if I were to do it, I would probably give it like a lightning enchant or maybe a magic enchant. But I don't know if I'll ever play Dark Souls all the way through again anytime soon, since I'm going to be moving straight from this into my Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 playthroughs or walkthroughs. And I just hate the idea of letting Dark Souls slip through my fingers without at least upgrading one last Great Scythe. When my very first clear, I started with the Baldur's Side Sword. I was a dex build. I switched to the Great Scythe. It was awesome. It was so much fun. And eventually I did my first full clear, so I've got sentimental value for that weapon. But I've got a long time to wait before I figure that out, whether or not I'm going to use it or not. At any rate, I am finally putting back on my proper ring to do sorcery damage. This part right here is the beginning of many similar situations where you gotta not get hit by these things. And if you're patient, you probably won't ever get hit by them. But if you do get hit by them, it fucking sucks because you take fall damage and usually fall into an area where they're bad guys. So stand under this bridge to fight this guy, because if you don't stand under the bridge, there's a piece of shit on the ledge above who will shoot you with spells, as you're about to see. But if you are a good archer or a good spellcaster, you can take his ass out from below, or her. I don't know if these guys are women or female, or men or female. I don't know. At any rate, see how the angle? I'm trying to like basically let him shoot, and then I step out and shoot. So I fuck up here, boom. What I should have done is let him shoot, then move, and yeah, when you fall that far. If any of those guys on the wall with the lightning spells hit you, you're pretty much toast. So I got very, very lucky that follow-up shot missed me. So time to climb back up. I'm recording this after the fact, obviously. This playthrough of Sen's Fortress actually has goes a lot better than my previous playthrough. My previous playthrough, I got so impatient, and I may or may not have been under the influence of some mind-altering substances that made me even less patient. But I just fell and fell and fell, mostly toward the end of Sen's Fortress, where the fall is just instant death, and it's just terrifying. But you'll see all these traps in due time. But anyway, that Cobra Lightning Hurler is dead. They're the people down below who are just awful. You can drop down there and kill them, but you don't really need to. But yeah, sometimes you just fall because this thing will hit you, and you fall down in there, and so you have no choice but to fight them. But I'm not going to waste a bunch of spells blasting them from above. But you never know. Maybe I will meet them in the near future if I get knocked down there. You gotta wait and see. So at any rate, this is where the Cobra person would be, and it's a pain in the butt to get through here with them shooting at you. So I just like to go ahead and kill it before I cross here. And yeah, this is, once again, be patient, chill. But there's a block ahead with arrows which will come through, so you gotta run through it, move to the right. Those arrows, if you stand in front of it like a dumbass, they can kill you outright. it is a very good habit from here on out to get used to testing every single treasure chest to see if it's a mimic. I believe the first mimic of the game is in Sin's Fortress. There's definitely a mimic. I don't know if I can't remember if it's the first or not. But we will meet it in the very near future. So just get in the habit of just tapping every single chest because it's worth it. Once you memorize which ones are which, and you can blast them with your most powerful attack before you engage and get a little head start. But mimics in Dark Souls 1, I think, are way stronger than the mimics in Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2, they fight a little differently, and they are just not a threat. But Dark Souls 3 was cool because it mixed up both styles, which I like. But the mimics in Dark Souls 1 are like these weird, like, soccer players. They stand up straight, they follow you around, and they throw these massive kicks at you, and they jump and do these flying kick attacks that are cool as shit. I love using traps against the enemies. That giant ball is pretty easy to dodge. You just have to wait and then move. Once again, another trap on the floor. You gotta run to the right. Hopefully, sometimes that guy gets hit by him, but he dodged him. Piece of shit. Now watch, my dagger is just a +5 dagger. You're gonna see how little damage it does. But halfway through this video, I'm going to turn it into a magic dagger, and then you'll start to see my backstab start doing way more damage. Because at this point, I think my intelligence is 32 or 33, and any magic or enchant buff on my weapons is going to scale with my intelligence. I'm doing a really shitty job of fighting this guy, so I'm just going to back up and shoot him with some spells. But yeah, if you enjoy melee, these guys are a ton of fun to fight. I find them very thrilling. So here, be patient. The ball's going to come. It pretty much is the default position of the ball to always come through here. And you'll see later in this video where those balls are coming from. If you haul ass, run, and jump, you can just make it before the next one goes. And I'm a bad motherfucker, so I made it. But you can shoot this ball in different directions for different effects. And this direction is the most harmless. It'll never touch him. This direction kind of doesn't do anything. And but when in my previous playthrough, there's a guy who invaded me here in Sin's Fortress, and he kept trying to shoot the balls at me in different parts. And when I wouldn't come up and fight him, he kept trying to like look for me by shooting the balls. But this works great because it goes down the wall, goes down the tunnel, and knocks out a wall. You can go down there and melee that guy instead, and just let him swing at you and knock through. But why take the hit, especially if you're a sorcerer? So I prefer to use the ball to open up the hole, and then turn it to a safe angle. I don't know how long it takes to reset. Eventually, it will just return to its default position, and it will start fucking you up again. So that's something to be aware of. But for the time being, I'm fine. At any rate, he's already hurt. But if you stand next to him with your shield up and he just starts swinging, that's another way to get the wall to open. I just feel like if you can avoid taking damage, avoid the damage. Yeah, you can see my dagger's just doing nothing now, so it is long overdue to upgrade that sucker. He's dead. Man, Serpent Greatsword, a weapon I don't think I've ever been equipped to even see what the moveset is. Alright, but here, if you are a sorcerer, this is vital. Big Hat Logan, one of the greatest sorcerers in all the Dark Souls games, and his gear is usually pretty goddamn good, but he also usually has an excellent arsenal of spells that you can buy. So use the Master Key to let him out. I don't know what other key you use to let him out. You know what? You probably have to get the cage key at the top of Sin's Fortress to let him out if you didn't choose the Master Key. But if you didn't choose the Master Key, shame on you. But basically, talk to him until you exhaust his dialogue options, and he will travel back to Firelink Shrine, and he'll chill until you come there and talk to him. And he'll basically stay there for a good long while until you start going to one of the zones much later in the game, where he just gets a giant nerd boner for all the spells that are available to be studied there. And he moves his location. Actually, I think he goes there and gets captured there. Then you free him, then he becomes a vendor, and eventually you have to fight him toward the end of the game. But that's fine because you get a badass fucking spell from him. Moving on, it is time to progress deeper into Sin's Fortress. Unless you're very well equipped or have a lot of flasks or a lot of healing spells, it's hard to do all of Sin's Fortress in one playthrough the very first time. So there's absolutely no shame in breaking it into pieces. But one of the important pieces is the Onion Knight, and I want to talk to him now that the ball's not coming through. So he'll move to the next stage of the game, which for him is a secret passage, or not a secret passage, but a passageway in Anolondo. And if you don't know why I'm saying it like that, then you should watch Gay for Games, which is a Scottish YouTube channel where they do awesome Dark Souls guides. And the very first playthrough that I did of Dark Souls from start to finish was using the Gay for Games walkthrough. They were fucking awesome. They basically showed every spell, every NPC quest, every item, and they basically taught me how to play Dark Souls. So yeah, Jumpin' Productions taught me how to play Dark Souls 2. Game for Games taught me how to play Dark Souls 1. And then with Dark Souls 3, I am mostly self-taught. But as I get ready to start doing my Dark Souls 3 walkthroughs, I'll probably find another instructor just to make sure there's nothing that I've overlooked or forgotten. Here's the Onion Knight. He's sulking and just doing his thing, but talk to him a few times to exhaust his dialogue options, and he will move on to Iron Golem, which, as I've said in previous videos, for a lot of people is the coolest part of the game. And I probably won't disagree with that, although there are so many awesome parts of Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 is a masterpiece, and there's very few parts of it that I would change. Even the parts that I fucking hate, I wouldn't have it any other way, because you get that sense of accomplishment once you get through those horrible, horrible spots. So now I've got a ton of souls, so I'm starting to get the itch to buy some spells. There's still lots and lots and lots of Sin's Fortress to explore, but I'm going to go do a few remaining things, because I basically do it in two full sweeps to make sure I get all the gear and talk to all the different people. But here's a pretty cool weapon. If you are a big melee junkie and like whacking folks and hitting folks, make sure you snag this Ring of Steel Protection. I almost never wear those. I think I wore one for a long time in Dark Souls 2 for some reason. But I tend to always go pure glass cannon, you know, low health, not low health, but weak health, weak armor, high damage, and I never really worry about wearing things that protect me, I feel like. In Dark Souls, you should learn where things are, how to shoot them where they are, or learn how to dodge their attacks. Anyway, learn to play, learn to kill, and put all your points into fucking people up. So this is me. I can hear the ball, and I'm wondering if it's reset. I'm poking my nose out. Usually it comes every couple of seconds. I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe it hasn't reset yet. Maybe it hasn't gone back to its default position, but no. It whacks the shit out of me, because I suck. And so now I gotta wait for the next one before I can run up and do my little move where I jump. But it took me a long time to actually learn how to make this jump right here without getting hit. But the key is just to know you can't wait to turn. You have to kind of like turn blind and jump, or you'll never make it. That's all right. That just takes getting hit in the face by it a few hundred times before you learn how to dodge it. There's just me looking down here. This is where the guy stands who's shooting down at you as you come up. I just showing that vantage point. This is where we went down to get to Big Hat Logan. I'm just going to show you this first, where it is a closed gate. People are always like, oh, damn, how do I get through here? But now I'm going to show you the proper way to come through. Here is an elevator going down to the Mimic, but we're going to come at the Mimic from a different direction. I like to use the traps of the castle against the Mimic. Mimics, they're not that hard, but when I'm a squishy sorcerer and there's a closed-in environment, if they do one really good jumping flying kick, they can take my ass out. And so I like to use as much trickery and fuckery to take them out as possible. Right, so there's a guy down below. I could do a plunge attack, but I wouldn't do any damage because my dagger sucks. So I just shoot a spell and then drop down. And another soul. Can never get enough souls. Alright, so this is an area where you can drop down, which is what I'm going to do. But before I do that, I'm going to open up the shortcut with the door that was locked beforehand, because if this shortcut's open, it'll make it dramatically easier for me to sneak down and take on the Mimic when I come back for my second run. Just got the Hush spell, which is awesome. It makes it so people can't cast spells, and the Black Sorcery set. I wear the Black Sorcery set on my test playthrough because I'm playing through as a male and it just looks cooler. But I'm going to show you what it looks like on a female. For whatever reason, the Black Sorcery set looks kind of dorky on a female. I don't know why. Just something about the way it conforms to my physique. But I do not like it on a chick. But on a guy, for whatever reason, looks pretty damn cool. Or maybe I'm just weird. At any rate, I'm putting back on my epic stuff. I'm not going to put any souls yet into upgrading my gear, or any mats into upgrading my gear. Mostly because I want to make sure I've got enough souls to get my dex to 12 when I get to Anor Londo. As I promised in an earlier video, I am going to try and get past the Great Bow guys the normal way. But I'm not counting on being able to get through the actual way, so I'm going to have to cheese it by using a small bow and poison arrows. I mean, I don't know. cheesing it. It's like it's a very effective strategy. It's a strategy that works, but it's basically a way to prevent me from committing suicide from just panic and misery. So anyway, I do want to make sure I can get my dex up to 12, but my dexterity is already at 11, so that between here and Anor Londo, I'm sure I will gather enough souls to pass the level, and if I don't, I can always just pause the game and go farm them. So I like dropping down on this second part here. There's one of those giant demon Titanite dudes down below, and their big fatal flaw is they don't know how to look up. So if a sorcerer were to drop down from above and check him out, I can just nuke him with my magic, and he can't do a goddamn thing about it. So some people like to run in here and just grab that mat and run out, but I figure why not get the souls, why not get the mats, and just take his ass out. Yeah, there are 4 of these guys total in Sen's Fortress. On all my playthroughs, I tend to kill 2, just because, like I said, I never use Demon Titanite to upgrade gear, but I will show you where the other 2 are if you want to gather the mats for upgrading boss weapons. Because, maybe I'm short-sighted. Maybe I'm just overlooking really, really cool boss weapons. Like, some of the boss weapons, like the Moonlight Greatsword and things like that, are really damn cool. I mean, who knows? I might make a Moonlight Greatsword on this character. I've never had a Sorcerer at max or play all the way through on Dark Souls before, so maybe it would be cool to get the Moonlight Greatsword. Yes, it's difficult to say. But around this corner are these 2 bastards. There's one down at the far end. They're really hard to fight together because they always reset to their positions. Even you can't like lure them into this tunnel to make it easier. And so you have to dodge 2 of them at once, which is it's hard enough to dodge 1 of them at once. Especially when I'm totally out of Estus, like officially out of Estus. And those bastards up above are going to start shooting at me. And yeah, I tried to use my Homer Bone, but they shot me. And now I'm starting to worry because I literally have no capacity to heal in any way, shape, or form. So it's time to get the fuck out of here. Am I wearing my rusted iron ring again? I can't tell. I always feel like I'm putting that damn thing back on and forgetting it, and then forgetting to put my sorcerer ring back on. So what I'm going to do now, take a quick breather, run back, do a little healing, get my spells and Estus Flask back. What? Now this is a total mystery. I have no idea where this guy came from, but somehow he's there, so I'm not going to worry about it, but I do want to kill him because he vexes me, and I can't abide anybody vexing me. Yeah, that is so weird that the guy's there. I don't know where the hell he came from, but somehow he must have been chasing me somewhere and gotten lost, and then he was like trying to find his way out of there and or back to me. Who the hell knows? At any rate, this is going to be a little boring as I just walk and run. So let's talk some movies and TV and media and all that good stuff, because if you know who I am, my movie podcast, Ron Wheel, is kind of my bread and butter. I have much more expertise about movies than I do about Dark Souls, but I like to believe after a year of playing nothing but Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, I've accumulated some decent information. But what did I saw over the weekend? Sausage Party. The new Seth Rogen R-rated comedy. Actually, we'll get back to that in a sec. Here is Big Hat Logan. Do not roll down and hit him because you can accidentally do damage and he can get pissed at you. He sells a lot of good spells, but later on he's going to sell even better spells. But as you can see, Soul Spear, which is really powerful and really fast, but more importantly, costs 40,000 fucking souls to get, which I had kind of forgotten. So this guy is just got a giant nerd boner for Logan. He's really impressed by his magic. All right, so I think that guy's wearing the Black Sorcerer set. Look on him; it looks kind of cool. At least like the body part does. I'm just looking at his spells and see what he's still got. I mean, eventually, I just want to clean these guys out and have all the spells. But yep, see, look at my rings. I'm wearing the goddamn rusted iron ring again. Somehow I keep putting that fucking thing back on and forgetting it. But anyway, I have no control over the game right now. I'm just watching, so I can't swap it out. So hopefully I'll remember to swap it out before I resume my my walkthrough. So I'm gonna eat all my souls, and then I'm also gonna turn in a boss soul to that giant like tadpole-looking dude in order to get enough souls to buy some spells I want. But anyway, back to Sausage Party. A lot of people are on Rotten Tomatoes it's at like 85%, and a lot of critics give it nice reviews. I was kind of out of step with everybody. I felt like it basically could have just as easily been a G-rated kids movie because it has your kind of generic G-rated kids plot. It's basically Toy Story, but takes place in a grocery store, and in the food finds out that they get eaten when they leave the store, and they have a revolt, and they all got to learn to work together and look past each other's differences, and a lot of different things where like Jewish food and Arab food, they have to like learn to get along, and so it becomes like an allegory for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and there's just a lot of like kind of very thinly veiled kind of like political stuff going on. And I don't mind politics and comedy. I mean, look at South Park. South Park's been very effectively mixing politics and comedy and animation for 20 years. But it was a little simple. It basically felt like a Pixar movie where they just said fuck when they didn't need to. And there's this crazy bisexual orgy at the end, which is kind of like outrageous and funny. But it's not that outrageous and funny. It's not like I walked out like, oh my god, I gotta go back and watch like the lettuce and carrots. Fuck, oh fuck. I mean, it just, I don't know. I think Sausage Party, I'm glad that it's making money, because my hope is that Sausage Party makes so much money that we get a lot more R-rated animation. I have worked in animation. This is me taking my bow because I broke this video into 2 parts, and so I thought I was going to wrap it up, and then I just decided to keep playing. So anyway, I'm back. That was just a little tease. At any rate, I've worked in animation. I work with the animator Bill Plimpton. I've produced one of his features, and I produced a short. And he's been doing adult animation his whole career, and he's always been frustrated by the fact that in TV, for some reason, adult animation is totally fine, but in the world of feature films, that is kind of frowned upon. We tend to have family-friendly entertainment. There's nothing wrong with family-friendly entertainment. I mean, I love movies like The Incredibles and How to Train Your Dragon. They're beloved with good reason, but hopefully we'll start seeing some more R-rated animation. I just feel like we're all adults. We can tell our children if we believe in censorship, and I don't even have kids, so it's a non-issue. Oh, magic dagger now, so my dagger will start doing a lot more damage. I don't have enough mat so to go any higher. But I feel like people should calm down about animation and realize, oh, you can do anything you want with animation because you're drawing. And I've never understood why people go for like photorealism and like kind of a generic predictable story, because animation's so malleable and so limitless in its possibilities. People should be able to tell whatever fucking stories they want. I mean, if you look at like Ralph Bakshi in the 70s, he was doing crazy shit like Fritz the Cat and Wizards and Lord of the Rings, and in the 80s he did like American Pop. I mean, he's just a brilliant animator who's doing a lot of crazy like R-rated content. He even did Coonskin, which is basically like a badass blaxploitation flick, but with animation and live action mixed together. I'm just doing some quick repairs before I go back. And now it is time to do the next part of Sin's Fortress. So I'm just letting these guys chase me out, and I think one of them hits me on this one. I kind of fucked up. No, actually I did pretty well on that one. Yeah, I just kind of tipped my hand because I do die a very shameful, humiliating death as I attempt to get to the top of Sin's Fortress, which the top of Sin's Fortress is like laughably easy and really, really fun compared to the main part of Sin's Fortress. But to get to the top of Sin's Fortress, you have to get through this one place of just unbridled hell in terms of the traps, and you'll see it's not totally my fault that I die. But well, this is familiar territory. You see me do this before. I'm gonna refresh or slake my thirst, or what is it? Slake your throat? Slake your thirst? I don't know. I've never really known the expression. I'm gonna drink water because I've been talking for 28 minutes at this point, and my throat's running dry. All right, we got I think 20 minutes to go, so yeah, I'm gonna have to have another water break before this all wraps up. But yeah, I was gonna break into 2 videos, but I figured Sin's Fortress is such a kick-ass epic zone in Dark Souls, it deserved to be all contained in the same video. So I will be clearing Sin's Fortress before this video is through, so not to worry. So the ball will not be coming anymore. It only comes down this way the very first time you play through, and then it's back to its normal slot. Sometimes that guy will chase you down here, sometimes he doesn't. And remember, that's a trap right there, so use it to kill the ad. Bam, took one hit him. So I don't know if I've ever actually killed him though. This is me fucking up again because I suck. Yeah, some of these guys are easy to like shoot over their heads. And he's dead, but I think I'm being chased. Am I being chased? Nope. Never mind. And this should be familiar at this point. You wait, and you haul ass, and you jump. And what I'm going to do, I need to go down the stairwell to the bottom, because the bottom of it is a really, really important magic item, as well as the Mimic. But I'm going to go a route that we'll go. I'm just looking down there. It looks inaccessible, but when you get to the top of Sen's Fortress, you're able to drop down there, and I'll be showing you how to do that in a matter of minutes. But to get safely down to where the Mimic is, I like to go this way instead of taking the elevator, because the elevator, sometimes you just get distracted, and at the top of the elevator there's a bunch of spikes which kill you. So I like to go down here, kill this piece of shit, and then I basically chase the giant ball down the stairs. And if you chase the giant ball and kind of keep up with it, you'll always be ahead of the one that's coming up behind you. And I may get hit by one or two of the giant balls between now and when I kill the Mimic, but nothing too embarrassing. Yeah. Anyway, I'm waiting for the ball. Until that ball comes, and I'll drop down behind it and haul ass after it. Come on, motherfucker, where are you? There he is. Boom. So just run down. And at the bottom, see that giant hole? If like 5 or 6 balls hit that hole, it fills up. And when it fills up, it becomes a flat surface, and the ball rolls atop the flat surface, goes right through that wall, and gives you access to a really, really important ring. So I'm just looking down there, showing how it's filling up. You have to be patient. To my left, down that tunnel, is the Mimic chest, and those are basically the last 2 things we need to get in the main body of Sen's Fortress. So I'm just being patient, getting healed. One more ball will fill it up, and then one more will go through. Boom! And the next ball will go through the wall. So just gotta be patient. And also, I like to lure the Mimic in here and let him chase me around a bit, and then I just try to dodge the ball. And that's just me being retarded, because I should have walked across the ball and slipped. But luckily, you could just climb back out. What you don't want to do is fall down in there and let the Mimic fall down there with you. That's just instant death. So anyway, there's the Mimic. I don't have to test it. I hit him with a powerful spell, my most powerful that I've got currently. And I'm just going to let him chase me around here, and hopefully the giant balls will kill him. So, Gold Serpent Ring. The Gold Serpent Ring, when you put it on, it raises the drop rate of cool stuff. I got hit with a ball. That was embarrassing. And I got a Mimic trying to kick my ass. And so, yeah, I'm just running back to where he came from, hoping that the ball will zap him. And if I see my souls go up, I know that he's been hit. Boom. That means he got hit. So, yeah. Bye-bye, buddy. But I do need to go and pick, Mimics, while they are creatures, they actually are working as a treasure chest. So you always want to go back and see what was in there, because it might be something good. So, yeah, that's where he died. He was looking for me, and he paid the price. Lightning Spear. Now, there are people who will play the whole game through without ever essentially raising any skill that will allow them to scale their weapons. They'll just enchant their weapons with lightning and then jack it up to like +10. And the weapons are insanely strong. Like the Gay for Games playthrough that I watched, these guys put all their stats into basically endurance and health, and they had just enough stats to hold the halberd, and they put a lot of other souls into the little like flame hand thing for pyromancy. But between the pyromancy and the lightning halberd, they were able to clear the whole game like easily. And it's like it kind of like upset me that they could make such a powerful character without any faith, intelligence, dexterity, or strength, apart from the bare minimum to equip certain items. But you can't argue with the results. It scales beautifully, it's insanely powerful, and they just walk through the game. So that is a build where you essentially never have a spec. You just have an awesome lightning weapon and an awesome pyromancy glove, and you're good to go. That is not the route I'll be taking this playthrough. This is the last little kind of tough area. It's really, really narrow. These guys, there's 3 or 4 of these bastards total. This is a secret passageway, or kind of a trap that takes you back down to some of those pit areas, but it's not necessary to go to if you've already cleared up the area for items, so I'm not going to bother dropping down. And there's one more bastard back here who's got a little bit of loot, so I want to kill him too. I shot too early without target, or I've tried to target but I missed. He dead. And now we move on to the most challenging trap or setup in the entire dungeon. by far. Nothing else comes close. It's super narrow ledge, high as hell, so it makes you dizzy. If your camera or your controllers wig out at all, you're going to die. If you make a mistake on your timing, you're going to die. But usually there's a guy standing right there who shoots lightning. So I kill him and then I go. So I knew something was fishy. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, there's usually a person who throws lightning and tries to knock you off. So you kill him, march across, and I'm trying to basically taunt him because I know he's somewhere around. But it's impossible to make my way across. See, there he is. And he's not in position. So I'm going to try and taunt him and get him to get into position. And if I were a smart player, I would find a way to just sneak around the edge and zap him and kill him and then go on about my day. But as you're about to see, I do it the wrong way. So I've got him targeted, and I shoot at the wall. So what I should have done is let him shoot, and then I should have moved, and then I would have shot. But I thought he was going to move after me. Once again, I was wrong. He's just determined to stay in that spot. And I know how these guys operate, and I know how to get them when they're in a weird spot, but because I'm nervous about this height, I just do something really, really stupid. So I should have, this is what I mean, I see how slowly I'm moving? That's a mistake! Anyway, it wouldn't be Dark Souls without the occasional death to gravity, so I hope you enjoyed that. And now I'm going to do some fast forwarding to get back to that position because I just think that both I and you would all just die from boredom if we had to play through. You know what? This is actually me taking a pee break. That's why I was just kind of huffing and puffing while I was fast forwarding. But I, like a lot of people, if you're nervous and you have to go to the bathroom, that makes things dramatically worse. Just compounds everything. So yeah, the combination of that ledge and having to go to the bathroom was just too much for me to bear. So I had to take a leak. Anyway. You've seen all this shit before. You've seen this little setting now 3 times. So this is, I'm doing exactly here what I should have done just now up above, but I just got nervous and fucked up. So moving along. What else can we talk about while we're back up there? Oh, I wanted to recommend a book series. If you like Dark Souls, you clearly like dark fantasy. And if you like dark fantasy, I'm not getting paid to say this. It's my own feelings and true beliefs or whatever. There is an author named R. Scott Bakker, Bakker from Canada, who has a series of 6 books, about to be 7. You know what? I'm gonna press pause real quick because this is me. This is where he usually is. He's whacking me. Now I'm just being impatient because I'm just so desperate to kill him and get my souls back. So I'm just fucking up. Anyway, R. Scott Bakker, he's written 6 books so far in what starts out as a Prince of Nothing trilogy, and then it turns into what it's going to end up being a series of 4 books. It is the darkest, most epic, crazy, complex fantasy series I've ever read. And I love George R. R. Martin. I love J.R.R. Tolkien. I love all reading old Robert E. Howard stories. Anyway, this is me just walking real slowly, being real chill, real patient. And you want to get past both of these before you stop. So you have to kind of move. That's where usually people get hit. Watch out for the planks on the floor. They will zap you. And I'm just going to run around. And now we're at the top of Sin's Fortress. Now there's still plenty of shit that can kill us up here. And there's still plenty of challenges. But I love this part of Sin's Fortress. This part for me is a lot of fun to explore. I wish this area were like the entire game, just because I love the design of it and I love the puzzles and that sort of thing. But sadly it's not. But back to R. Scott Bakker. Oh, but one last thing. You got to keep moving. There's a big giant at the top who throws these huge explosive cannonballs that would just kill you. And if they kill you, you got to go all the way back down to the bottom of Sin's Fortress and then come back up here. So you want to move. Don't stand still, and then drop off that ledge. Hit that bonfire. I'm going to use 1 humanity so that I can both kindle and reverse my hollowing, because I'm going to summon a buddy to help kill the boss here. But R. Scott Bakker, the very first one, is called The Darkness That Comes Before, and is probably the least accessible first book in a fantasy series ever written. You can tell he's still kind of learning his craft with it, but he puts so much text and so much dense story and detail and information into it. You can really only get through it with like an appendices or like an online guide or like an online wiki, kind of explaining some of the lore, helping you. Problem is that as you're reading it, if you read too much explanations about what's confusing you, it can give away some spoilers if that upsets you. But it is so worth the initial effort. I mean, the first book's like 600-700 pages, and the first couple 100 pages, basically just suffer, 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 suffer. All right, this is me just skipping all the items because I'm running to the top because I want to kill that guy before he's throwing these giant cannonballs down. And if I stop to grab things, that's where I get killed. So basically, before you do anything else in this area, I'm breaking my own rule here because I'm going to kill this guy and I'm going to get my ass kicked. I'm going to keep shooting over his head because I'm not smart. But before you do anything else, you want to go to the very top and kill this giant. That's kind of superfluous, but he is a giant, and he throws these giant explosive cannonballs. A lot like the other guy who drops the big cannonballs down that we've been dodging and using in the early parts of the game. That's a shortcut back down to the bottom of Sin's Fortress, but I can't use it until I get the cage key. At any rate, back to R. Scott Becker. I just recommend you, if you like challenging reads that have awesome payoffs and go to strange, dark places most fantasy books never dream of going to. I mean, he's got books where you just... Oh, we see the boss up there. Yeah. But that you just can't believe he's willing to write these stories. But the characters are so rich and so detailed. And, like, everybody's kind of a piece of shit in a lot of ways. Like, even, like, the best people in the series are, like, commit all these horrible atrocities. I mean, here's this guy. You can go out there and fight him in melee and stand around his feet and let him swing at you. I tend to just try to get him to stand in front of the doorway, shoot at a leg, shoot at an arm. I'm just trying to taunt him around the corner to get him a little closer. So I'm going to probably eat a hit or two, but once something's in view, then I can just blast him with spells. But I just finished reading The Great Ordeal, which is book 6. His book 6 was so long and taking so long to finish, he decided to break it in 2. So the second half of it is coming out as the Unholy Consult at an undetermined time, but sometime within the next 12 months. So unlike George R. R. Martin, who has written 5 books in 20 years, R. Scott Becker's written 6 books in about 10 years. He writes at a very, and it's about to be 7, so he writes at a very rapid clip, so you can, you don't have to sit around waiting around for this story, and also there's so much that's already been published, you could read for half a year and reread this stuff and just have so much fun with this material. At any rate, Titanite Chunk is always good. You can roll through those balls. You don't need to. But now the place is open to be explored, and we can just have fun with it. That's where the boss is. That's where my buddy is that I'm going to summon, but we're going to clear everything else first. So, yeah, I mean, unlike the bottom of Sin's Fortress, which you have to kind of do in pieces, you can do this whole top part easily in one playthrough, but I will definitely be getting my spells and flasks back before taking on the boss. Even though the boss, this is one of those bosses where if you want to just take a smoke break and let the buddy you summon kill him for you, that is totally viable. Here's a nice advantage of being a sorcerer, because this guy, he's not a challenge, but he hits hard and has a big-ass shield, but he just can't quite figure out where I am, so I just nuke his face and then go on about my business. It'll take me a little while to get back there and pick up that gear, but that's all right. There are the cages that go back down, but I don't have the key yet, which key is something I'm about to go get right now. The reason I haven't gone down that tunnel either time is that there's just a dead end. It's just a silly little area. I don't know why they added it. There's nothing to hit. So this is kind of a hard jump. You got to stay on the left and run right through the edge and jump. There's a jump very similar to that in Dark Souls 2 that most people will remember with fear and loathing. This guy, for whatever reason, he's floating off the ground. I don't know why, but he sells a lot of cool shit. He sells the Baldur Shield, which is an awesome thing to get if you have higher strength. But more importantly, he sells large Titanite shards and green Titanite shards. They are 5,000 apiece. I need a total of 9 to get to Magic plus 5, but I'm going to go ahead and buy 3. And the next time I'm down in the main area, I will upgrade my weapon a little bit more. But I also need to start thinking about saving some souls to buy poison arrows, because the time is nigh approaching where I'm probably going to need at least 50 or 60 of them to mess around Honor Londo. Because while they're these Silver Knights with the great bows, or whatever the hell they are, while it's very useful to have the poison arrows for those guys, it's also kind of useful to have them to clear out the main area in front of the boss and the double boss in Honor Londo, so that I can save my spells for the boss fight. So anyway, I'll be buying a whole fuck ton of poison arrows in the very near future once I get a little opportune time to do so. Drinking water. 7 minutes to go, but my throat is parched. So unfortunately, I have to climb all the way back up. But just remember this guy. He's a really, really killer vendor. most people talk to him and then forget he's even up here, but he's got some good stuff for sale, especially if you plan on doing a holy weapon or a magic weapon, because those green titan. Actually, I need to check that, but I believe holy weapons, when you're taking up to +5, they also use green titanites. So, rather than jumping back across, though, if you want to use your bow to kill the guy who drops those things, you can. But the only difference it makes is that if you plan on walking back through Sin's Fortress, the balls won't be there anymore. You don't have to worry about them. But now that we have the cage key, we can use the cages and go to the bottom of Sin's Fortress and not have to worry about the balls anyway. And we're rapidly also reaching the point where we won't have to worry about shortcuts really that much, or just what routes we take at all anymore, because after Iron Golem, you earn the ability to teleport between certain bonfires. Granted, there's still some shortcuts that are really important to know, but yeah, like most Dark Souls game, like Dark Souls 2 and 3, you can teleport all over the place between bonfires. Dark Souls 1, you can only teleport to select bonfires, but once again, you have to clear Iron Golem before you can do it. I'm practicing my parries here and I almost get killed because I suck. I just feel like I haven't been doing any melee at all, so I needed to just see if I could still do it. I mean, I don't have the fastest shield, so it's not the best time to be practicing, but I'm going to try again. Wackow! Got you. Anyway, see how much damage my dagger did? My dagger did 338, where I was doing like 12 before. That's the difference between having a magic dagger versus a +5 dagger, because a +5 dagger scales very differently, but a magic dagger scales off my juicy intelligence. So the dagger has become viable again. It'll be way more viable once I get to magic +5. And even more so if I get it to enchanted +5. We shall see what we do as the game evolves and progresses. So, oh no, we haven't fully cleared this place yet. Remember, there's that guy that I shot over the edge, or over the ledge. I'm going to go get him. And we also still need to go kill Rickard to get Rickard's rapier. If you are a dex build and love rapiers, and I think rapiers are killer weapons. They're fast and they're straight, and you can light up people in PvP, and they have a hard time even like responding. I love how you can see that view. You can see it. That's the bell tower where I fought the gargoyles way earlier in the game. I mean, it is breathtaking how everything connects together so well. Like, if you can see something in the distance, chances are eventually you will go there. And I just love how it all interconnects. But back to being a dex build, Rickard's rapier is a badass weapon, but I think you have to have 20 dex to use it. So I will not be using that weapon on this character. His arrows aren't doing shit, so I'm just going to be trading shots with him, because if I get close to him, he might start lighting me up with that goddamn rapier of his. So why not just let him fight like an idiot while I've got the superior firepower. So, got Rickard's rapier. That's definitely a hot item in the game. I'm just going to check it. As me just checking out because I wanted to see the stats just to be sure, because if you are a sorcerer, things like Estoc and rapier and things like that, those are very viable, cool weapons for sorcerers. Divine Blessing, something you will never use. It's insanely powerful, but I think you get 2 per playthrough. And it's kind of like, if you have a really, really nice healing option, but you only get like 1 or 2, you always think like, oh, I need to save them for like something important. But then all of a sudden you've like gone through New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus. You're like, oh, I've got like 5 Divine Blessings now. Like, am I ever going to use those fucking things? So yeah, I don't think I've ever used a Divine Blessing in Dark Souls 1, but they are very, very powerful. I think they basically just heal you totally, whatever's going on. But I don't know, because I've never used one. But in Dark Souls 2, that's definitely what they do. I think you get a few more, and I've definitely used them there. So time to drop down, get my spells and flashback, and then it's going to be time to summon my homie, and we're going to kill the boss and bring this video to a close. Just roll through here. This is me just fast forwarding, because you've seen this a lot at this point. There's no reason to see this shit again. Boom, boom, boom. Kind of open up the cage door, and be careful that you don't fall trying to open up the cage door. And after I kill the boss, I will probably take the cage door down and grab all the mats and all the shit that I need to get me through Iron Golem, because after Iron Golem I can teleport wherever I want, but I do need to buy some things before going in there, so I might as well just get everything that I need while it's convenient. You can see the boss just chilling up there. Someone's to make a video just about what these guys do when they don't have people coming to kill them, because, I mean, do they just stand there for thousands of years waiting for adventurers to come through? Because, I don't know, it just seems like a strange strange way to live. But that's one thing that's so cool about Dark Souls is that you always get the sense that it is a civilization totally in decline, and so you have these like ancient immortal beings just standing around, not knowing what to do with themselves. So he very well could have been there for millennia, as far as we know. Once again, Iron Tarkus is a badass tank. He can take shitloads of damage, and he hits like a truck. So if you want to just dodge the boss and let Iron Tarkus take him on, he will eventually kill him. The boss has massive melee attacks that are pretty easy to dodge. He's got a distance attack that's also pretty easy to dodge, and he likes to reach in and grab people, which with my health I could probably die. But after talking all that shit about how easy it is, I start this this fight off really poorly, and I almost let him kill me because I'm very cocky with this guy. I've only died to him once ever because he knocked me off the edge, which is usually how he kills people. People will get hit by that battle axe while they're close to the wall, and they die to gravity. But yeah, I mean, I am so close to death. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here and go do some healing. Yeah, Iron Golem though, now that I got my distance and he's focused on my buddy, it's just a matter of time. I just gotta hit him with a few spells and let Iron Tarkus hit him a few times. He has a weird thing though, where if he picks Iron Tarkus up while he's got him up in the air in his fist, if you shoot spells at him, he's invulnerable to him. I've never understood why. Yeah, Iron Tarkus killed him for me. But just keep that in mind. If you are playing with only a handful of spells and you want to use them, just make sure that you save him for when he's not holding Iron Tarkus up. So I'm going to do my bow, and thank you so much for watching my video. I really, really appreciate it. Please remember to subscribe and like my channel and make any recommendations that you have. And I'll be back at y'all in the very near future. I'm going to be home for a while, so I'm going to be making a shitload of videos. But as always, it's been a pleasure, and I will talk to y'all soon. So long.